Hey, this is Boyd coming to you from Game Castle College Park. Thank you so much for checking out our videos. If you haven't already, like this video and subscribe to our channel. Maybe even ring that bell to get notified when we put out a new one. Our channel represents a game store in College Park, Maryland. We focus mostly on learn to play and product preview content, but we'll be happy to add other content that our viewers want. Let us know if you'd like to see further content about Pathfinder 2nd Edition or about other games. Today, we're going to dive into one of the fundamental concepts of any role-playing game, the difficulty class or difficulty check. So DC stands for difficulty class. Sometimes people also call it a difficulty check. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, a DC is the target number that someone needs to roll to succeed on a check in any role-playing game. If you got a copy of the Pathfinder 2nd Edition core book on you, flip on over to page 503. If not, don't worry. We're going to put a bunch of stuff on the screen. We've got two types of DCs at the end of the day. We got simple DCs, which I think really should be called static DCs, and level-based DCs, which as opposed to static DCs, I like to think of as dynamic DCs. So for simple DCs, we're going to flip right over to table 10-4, which is helpfully reproduced on your screen. And we're first going to estimate which proficiency rank best matches the task. This is a common sense thing, not a statistics thing. Is the task something that someone with no training in the relevant skill should succeed on about half the time? Sounds like an untrained task with a DC of 10 to me. Is it something even those with training find challenging? Use the trained DC. I'll skip the math. But untrained DCs are designed so that an average level 1 character has about a 50-50 chance of succeeding. Trained tasks are about the same for a level 1 character, with better chances success as the party levels and for characters that invested more points in the associated ability scores. The same is going to be true for a level 2 character with expert difficulty tasks, assuming the character chose expertise in the skills where they have the ability scores to shine. The same thing is going to be true for master level checks and legendary level checks. Important to note that these checks are level agnostic. Breaking down a wooden door is the same difficulty if your character is level 1 or level 20 or level 2020. The individual door in question might be a little different from time to time. Is it locked with a simple lock? Is it barred with a wooden plank or maybe an iron bar? But the DC for breaking down a wooden door barred with an iron bar shouldn't be changing as the PC's level. They're better at stuff now, and the game should celebrate that, not penalize it. That's why I like to think of these checks as being static. These are great for DCs that you're going to generate on the fly, ones that don't have a level associated with them, and times when characters' lives are not on the line. They are not good for times when the GM has had some time to think about the exact DC they want. This doesn't mean that it won't be a simple or static check, just that the cut and dry 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 choices can probably be refined a little bit. They also aren't great when success or failure on the check is particularly relevant to the story. Now, I come from the tradition where anytime someone rolls, it should have consequences, aka be relevant to the story. But there's relevant and then there's relevant. These are also not great when characters' lives are on the line. And even with a simple DC, you don't have to stick with this basic 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 progression. Let's flip over to table 10-6. As you can see, we can decrease our DC between -10 or increase it all the way up to +10 based on how difficult a task is. Helpfully, they've keyed this into rarity. And remember the lore of old. If the character has a relevant lore skill, Pathfinder suggests lowering the DC for the check using that lore skill by 2 to reward them for choosing a lore skill. Finally, we've also got minimum and maximum proficiency. Pathfinder 2nd Edition suggests that some tasks should have a minimum proficiency. Maybe there's just no way that someone who is only trained can succeed. The rule as written is that a character who does not have the minimum level of proficiency cannot succeed at all. At my table, the rule is that a trained character can try an expert level task, but their level of success is going to be reduced by 1 step, say from a critical success down to a success. You can also do the same thing with maximum proficiency. Simply say that if a character has the requisite level of proficiency in the skill, they just automatically succeed at it. Your players will love this and your play will move a lot more quickly. Okay, so let's switch over to level-based DCs. Level-based DCs are keyed to something or someone that has a level. For some things, it's usually the level of someone that built it. Chart is broken down through levels 120 and spell levels. Note that for a caster, you'll want to use the caster's level regardless of what level of spell they are casting. That's a little different from some other systems like Pathfinder 1st Edition. And that makes sense. A 5th level wizard casts a sleep spell using the same spell DC as when she casts a fireball. Sure, it's a will save versus a reflex save, but the target number the victim needs to roll is the same. And the numbers make sense when you think about them. Lo and behold, the DCs for spell levels are the same as the DCs for the lowest level a character could cast a spell of that level. The DC for a level 1 check is 15, and a trained level 1 character is probably going to have a +4 to a +7 on their roll. For the most part, the number is going to increase by 1 per level, but sometimes by 2. When's that going to happen? Well, right after the times that new levels of proficiency open up at 2nd, 7th, and 13th level. And we're also going to see the jumps happen about the times that an ability score increases on the table at 5th level, 10th level, 15th, and 20th level. Remember, you can adjust the difficulty of a level-based DC just like a simple DC from -10 all the way up to +10. And now you know everything you need to know for setting DCs in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Just kidding. Let's talk about situational bonuses and penalties real quick. First of all, you're going to want to stick with either a +1 or a -1 in the vast majority of situations. When setting a DC, remember that players have a good chance of critting, either successfully or crit failing. So a +1 or -1 is not just moving the floor for success and failure, it's also opening the door to a better chance of critically changing things. We've also got 3 types of bonuses in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. These are the ones where you're probably going to want to throw in a circumstance bonus or a status bonus. But if we're trying to open a door and the party happens to have some sort of crowbar type thing, that sounds like a great case to use an item bonus. There's great advice on setting situational bonuses and penalties in the Game Mastery Guide. Here are some of the questions you'll want to ask. Is it terrain related? You can do this one of 2 ways. I like to give bonuses to the party that are uphill or have the terrain advantage. You can also do it as a penalty for the ones that are downhill, but people don't tend to like penalties very much, but they will understand that someone gets a bonus the other way. If you're looking at giving out a situational bonus, ask yourself, is it the result of an interesting, surprising, or novel strategy? That's a great time to give a situational bonus. And did it take the character some effort or the player/character some smart thinking to set up the situation? It's a great time to give a bonus. Let's talk about the red flag though. Is it easy to replicate in future battles? If so, you probably don't want to give a bonus or a penalty. These are situational bonuses or penalties after all. And that's it. Simple DCs are level agnostic, should be easy to make up on the fly, and use adjustments to rarity to make them a little bit more varied. Remember that you can use a minimum proficiency level with them. And remember that you can rule that the check just isn't required. You can rule that a character that doesn't have the requisite level of proficiency just doesn't get as good of a result as someone who might. Level-based DCs are useful when facing opposition that can be leveled, like an NPC or monster. You can adjust them for difficulty and rarity, just like a simple DC. And you can set a minimum level of proficiency, just like a simple DC. These are also great when facing spell effects, but remember that spell effect DCs are keyed to the caster's level, not the spell level. Situational bonuses, a +1 or a -1 goes a long way because you're also varying the chance to critically succeed or fail, and add bonuses to status or circumstance based on when you think it's best. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, or ring the bell to get notified. This has been Boyd for Game Castle College Park, and have a great day.